Narrated by Aisha. When the Prophet peace be upon him became ill, some of his wives talked about a church which they had seen in Ethiopia, and it was called Maria. Salma and Habiba had been to Ethiopia, and both of them narrated the church's, beauty and the pictures it contained. The Prophet peace be upon him raised his head and said, "Those are the people who, whenever a pious man dies amongst them, make a place of worship at his grave and then they make those pictures in it. Those are the worst creatures in the sight of Allah." Narrated by Anas. We were in the funeral procession of the daughter of Allah's Messenger peace be upon him, and Allah's Messenger peace be upon him was sitting near the grave, and I saw his eyes full of tears. He said, "Is there anyone amongst you who did not have sexual relations with his wife last night?" Abu Talha replied in the affirmative. And so Allah's apostle told him to get down in her grave, and he got down in her grave and buried her. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. The Prophet peace be upon him collected every 2 martyrs of Uhud in one piece of cloth, then he would ask, which of them had knew more of the Quran. When one of them was pointed out for him, he would put that one first in the grave and say, "I will be a witness on these on the day of resurrection." He ordered them to be buried with their blood on their bodies, and they were neither washed nor was a funeral prayer offered for them. Narrated by Uqba bin Amir. One day the Prophet peace be upon him went out and offered the funeral prayers of the martyrs of Uhud, and then went up the pulpit and said, "I will pave the way for you as your predecessor and will be a witness on you. By Allah, I see my fount, Kothar, just now, and I have been given the keys of all the treasures of the earth, or the keys of the earth. By Allah, I am not afraid that you will worship others along with Allah after my death, but I am afraid that you will fight with one another for the worldly things." Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. The Prophet peace be upon him buried every 2 martyrs in Uhud in one grave.